All right, let's just jump right in with a pretty wild question. Can a machine, an AI, actually understand your feelings better than another human being? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but a really fascinating new study put this exact question to the test. They pitted ChatGPT against actual people to see who was better at emotional intelligence. And well, the results might just blow your mind.
So, everything we're about to dig into comes directly from this one study published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology. And you got to just look at the title for a second. ChatGPT outperforms humans in emotional awareness evaluations. I mean, that is a huge claim, right? So let's break down exactly how they could possibly come to that conclusion.
So yeah, this is the big, shocking claim we're going to investigate. How on earth could an artificial intelligence be better than us at something so fundamentally human? We're going to look at what the scientists did, how they measured it, and of course, what it could mean for all of us. Now, we all know ChatGPT is kind of like a magician with words. You know, it can write code, it can write essays, the whole deal. But the researchers here, they wanted to know if it could handle something a lot softer. They basically said, look, we know it's good with language, but its ability to really get complex human emotions, that's a complete mystery. So they decided to find out.
Okay, so if you're going to make a claim this big, you better have a rock-solid experiment to back it up. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how they actually put ChatGPT to the test to see if it could really hang with us when it comes to emotional skills.
The main thing they were measuring is something called emotional awareness, or just EA for short. And this is not just about, saying someone looks sad. It's way deeper than that. It's the ability to understand that emotions are complex and messy, that you can feel multiple things at once, and to see that in yourself and in other people too.
So how do you even test for that? Well, they used a really well-known psychological test called the Levels of Emotional Awareness Scale, or LEAS. The way it works is actually pretty simple but brilliant. First, they gave ChatGPT 20 different little stories designed to make you feel something. Then, they just asked it, how would the people in the story feel? And finally, its answers were scored on a standardized scale, the exact same way a person's would be.
Okay, so the test is done. The AI has given its answers. Now for the moment of truth. And honestly, this is where things get absolutely wild.
Take a look at this. This chart shows the first round of tests from January 2023. That first bar, that's the average score for a group of 750 humans. The second bar, that's ChatGPT. And wow, it didn't just pass, it crushed it. That score, a Z-score of 2.84, you don't have to be a statistician to know that means it performed way better than the human average.
But wait, it gets even crazier. The researchers had this hunch. They thought, hang on a second, this AI is learning and improving all the time. What happens if we test it again? So that's exactly what they did, just one single month later. And just look at this. The score didn't just go up a little bit, it went through the roof. It skyrocketed to a Z-score of 4.26. The paper even says it was getting close to the maximum possible score on the entire test. At this point, it wasn't just better than humans, it was approaching a perfect score.
So you're probably wondering what that improvement actually looks like in its own words. Well, this is a perfect example. They gave it a really tough scenario about a person on a bridge. In January, the response was blunt, suicidal, and hopeless. Okay, direct, but look at the February response. It's so much more nuanced. It says despair, hopelessness, or sadness, and then it adds this whole layer of wisdom, saying it's crucial to approach with empathy. The AI didn't just get smarter, it seems like it got wiser.
And okay, if you're still a little skeptical, get this. The researchers brought in the pros, 2 independent licensed psychologists. They had them rate how accurate ChatGPT's emotional descriptions were. Their score, on average, a 9.7 out of 10. I mean, come on, that's nearly perfect. This data is just stunning, but it's just data, right? So what's the so what? If an AI is this good at understanding emotions, how could we actually use it in the real world to, help people?
Well, the paper lays out some fascinating possibilities. Imagine using it as a training tool for patients with conditions like PTSD or depression, to help them practice identifying their own feelings. Or maybe it could help doctors with making a diagnosis. It could even be a tool to train new therapists, helping them build a richer emotional vocabulary. And hey, even for us, just trying to make sense of a difficult conversation, it could be a real help.
So let's just zoom out for a second. What this all means is that we now have an AI that is, by the numbers, better than most humans at figuring out complex emotions. And that raises some really deep questions about what makes us special and what our future with technology is going to look like. You've probably heard of the Turing test, right? The classic idea is, can a machine fool you into thinking it's a person? Well, these researchers came up with this brilliant twist. They're basically saying that ChatGPT's answers might be so good, so emotionally sophisticated, that you'd know it was an AI, precisely because most humans aren't that good.
And that right there, that's the real heart of it, isn't it? Even if an AI gives a technically perfect, empathetic answer, would you actually feel understood? The researchers themselves point out that just knowing you're talking to a machine and not a person with real-life experiences, that could change everything. The technical skill is there, but what about the human connection?
And that is the huge, final question this study leaves us with. It's not just about what the AI can do anymore, it's about how we are going to feel about it. What does it mean to get an emotionally perfect answer from something that doesn't actually have feelings? I certainly don't have the answer, and I think that's something we're all going to be figuring out together for a long time to come. Thanks for watching.